So I'm gonna start this video off with a story, and I want you to tell me if you can relate to this. So you pick up a fighting game just for fun and just want to mash some buttons and do some supers or whatever. But then one day you decide, I want to get better at this fighting game. I want to do well. I want to become strong. So you try. You go to training mode and you practice your combos. You go online, search up combo videos, guides, whatever, and you put in some time, and then you think you're ready to take on the world. Then you hop online and you can't remember anything. It's like all the hours you put in practicing those combos are just not happening. That combo that you just practiced for 30 minutes is just not coming out in the middle of the match. You just keep losing and you keep losing, and you start getting frustrated. Why are you losing so much? Why are you already hitting a plateau so early? Well, my son, I'm here to tell you that you probably just suck. But it's okay. It's okay, my son. It's okay. Because I'm here to fix it. I'm here to help you improve at fighting games one step at a time. But yeah, what's going on, guys? King John here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a different type of video. I want this video to be sort of a guide, because a lot of beginners get frustrated really early with their problems in fighting games and they don't really know what they're doing wrong. So I want to point out a lot of things that beginners do wrong and try to guide them to fixing those issues. So obviously this video is going to be targeted more towards beginner players to mid-level players that are trying to, you know, level up and break their plateau or actually make some good progress in fighting games. And I feel if you watch this entire video from beginning to end, do some self-reflection on your own play and on your own things, then I feel you can actually grow, because the first step to actual growth in anything in life is just self-realization of what you're doing wrong. But before we get into that, guys, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 500 subscribers right now. We're really close. We're almost there. It only takes 2 seconds and 2 clicks, and there's literally no risk for on your part, and it really helps out the channel. And the first thing we're going to talk about is a thing that a lot of beginners do, and that's you only practice combos. Now, a lot of casuals and beginners just go into training mode and just search up some combos and just practice the combos, and that's all they do. Now, combos are a pretty important part of fighting games, right? But honestly, they're not the only thing you should be practicing. If anything, that's the last thing you should be practicing. What you should be practicing is, what's your character's neutral game, your character's buttons, what's your character's win condition, you know, what buttons should you use in the mid-range, what should you do in the long range, what should you do in the close range, what should your pressure strings be. You should first learn what your character does in the neutral, what your character's game plan should be, other than just practicing combos. Combos are like the last thing you should practice. First, you gotta figure out, okay, what button do I use in the mid-range? How do I structure my pressure? What are the Oki setups, etc., etc. Those are things that you should practice first while learning a character, rather than practicing combos. Combos are pretty important, but they're not the end all be all. If anything, like I said, they're the last thing you should be practicing. I see a lot of people falling into this trap, just only practice combos, and they're wondering why they can't win if they put all this time into learning combos, and that's because they don't know what to do in the neutral, and they don't know what buttons to press at all. They're just kind of just hoping for that one starter to hit so they can do their combo they practice for 30 minutes. Moving on to the next one, we're going to go with your execution is just bad, man. Listen, it's okay. Execution is something that you need to practice, and everybody could get better at. But honestly, a lot of people don't even go on training mode and just practice how to do their combos. They don't put in reps. It's like doing weight workouts. You gotta put in reps to, you know, train your execution. You gotta train your muscle memory. Pretty much every beginner that I've seen doesn't go to training mode like at all, because they find it boring, which is fine if you're not really trying to improve. But if you're really trying to improve, you gotta go into training mode. You gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the reps to build your muscle memory, because if you don't, then you're gonna be dropping combo left and right, and that's gonna lose you a lot of games. Also, I hear this a lot when it comes to execution. I just don't have enough time to practice. I work, or I go to school, or I do this, or I do that. Dude, that's fine. You don't need 2 to 3 hours of just executional practice to get better at fighting games. All you really need is just 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even less, of just quality reps of just you in training mode practicing the combo over and over for like 20 to 15 minutes, and that's really all you need every single day. You don't need to practice for 2 to 3 hours. And as long as you get like 20 to 30 minutes of good reps in every single day, your muscle memory will build out on its own. Moving on to number 3, we're going to go with you don't understand frame data. Now, frame data is a little bit of an advanced thing in fighting games. Nearly 99% of casuals and beginners don't care about frame data, and that's fine. But if you're really trying to grow and improve in fighting games, you need to understand frame data at least a little bit, especially for the ones that like to mash a lot. People in the lower levels like to mash out of things, but they wonder why they keep getting crushed or counter hit when they don't understand what they should be doing. Frame data just breaks down into 3 simple things: startup, active time, and recovery frames. Startup is how many frames it takes for the move to actually, like, you know, come out. Active time is pretty much just the frames where the hitbox and the hurt boxes show up and they actually like activate, so you can actually hit something. And then recovery is just the time that it takes to go back into neutral stance pretty much. And more times than none, you're gonna be vulnerable during this recovery state. That's pretty much in layman's terms, but it's not that hard really to understand. For example, if I go into Guilty Gear Strive and I want to do a Sol far S into far S string, Sol far S into far S is not a real string. There's a gap. There is approximately an 8-frame gap in between it. The most simple way to put it is far S is 10 frames of startup, so it takes 10 frames to start up the move. Now, if the move hits on block, it is +2. That means you are in an advantage by 2 frames. So basically, if I do another far S, you'll have to press a button that's 7 frames or faster in order to beat it. For example, if I have Kai here and I want him to interrupt my far S into far S, all he would need to do is press a button that's 7 frames or faster. So he could press 2P, he could press 2K. Either of those would work in interrupting the far S into far S. However, if you were to press 2S, which is 10 frame startup, it's too slow. Normally, that would trade because they have the same startup, but since I'm +2, that basically means I'm at an advantage, so I'm faster, so I crush him. It may seem a little intimidating and complicated at first, but once it clicks, it's really not that hard to understand. It'll be like second nature. Moving on to number 4. You just panic too much. Now, rank anxiety and tournament anxiety are very real things. I've been through tournament anxiety. I don't get anxious playing online at all, but for tournaments, I do get nervous sometimes, especially when it's a big tournament, and that's completely normal. In my opinion, if you get nervous, that just means that you care. However, a lot of people let those nerves and anxiety affect their play, and I can't understand if it's like, you know, grand finals, last game, last round, you know, you're both on low health, anything could win you the match, any mistake could make you lose the match. I understand that. I understand if nerves affect you there, but a lot of people let nerves control them in the most minute situations. Just they're playing in a tournament match and they get so anxious and panicky that they start mashing, and that's pretty much the biggest symptom of playing with anxiety and nerves. You start mashing a lot because you panic and you start making a lot of mistakes that are really going to cost you the match. So a huge thing that a lot of people could do, not just beginners, even high level players, if they really want to take that next step, they got to work on their mentality and their mental game, and that's something I got to work on too myself. I'm not free of this either. I would recommend searching up a lot of sports psychology, sports mentality, because sports psychology and learning how to deal with losses, learning how to, learning how to control nerves and all these things. You can learn a lot from sports psychology and put it into fighting games or any esport. It goes hand in hand. It's really seamless transfer. And finally, number 5, you don't look at your own replays. This is the number one thing anybody could do to improve at fighting games, especially the beginner and mid-level players. The high-level players do this, and that's just looking at your own replays. Looking at your own replays goes so far in helping you learn what you're doing wrong and what you could fix. A lot of people don't like looking at their own replays, especially their losses, because they get mad or frustrated or sad or whatever. But honestly, you're gonna have to do these things in order to improve. If you were to play in a tournament and you get blown out 3-0, you need to go back and see what you did wrong in order for the next time you face that person or that character, you have a better game plan. And even if you face them again and you go 3-1, that's an improvement. Look at that replay and see what you did wrong there, and etc, etc. You keep building on it. Trust me, this is like so huge. Nobody does this other than the higher level players, which is insane. And some people may say that they don't really know that much about fighting games, so they can't really break down a replay. And even if you don't, you could ask the many people that are doing replay analysis. There are so many of them, and they're down to break down your replay for you and see what you did wrong. Because looking back on your replays is literally the number one resource to seeing what you're doing wrong and how you can fix it. Because the best way to grow is self-reflection and self-realization of what you're doing wrong and fixing and acting upon it. You're your own biggest critic. And I got an extra bonus one for you guys that I just thought about right now. You duck strong competition. A lot of people worry too much about their rank or their online status or their S rank or their celestial or whatever. I'm like, dude, you're ducking good competition that's gonna help you grow. If you like pick and choose weak people or mid-level people to try to improve off just because you don't want to face the strong players because you don't want to lose your little online rank, that is terrible. That is stunting your growth massively. Even if you get completely washed, you can learn a lot just from playing the higher level players. I've heard so many times saying, I don't want to go up against higher level players because I feel like I won't learn anything because I'll just get destroyed. Trust me, there's always something you can pick up on. You can learn so many things. You can learn something that you're doing wrong. You can learn something from the other person if they're using a character, whether that be a setup in its most optimal form or they're neutral in their most optimal form. There's so many things if you have the mind for it, that you can pick up off playing higher level players or higher level players than you, that it's something that everybody needs to do, but a lot of people care too much about their online rank to really do something like that. But anyways guys, that's pretty much it for me today. Let me know if any of these things helped you realize something about yourself, something that can help you improve and grow. Also, leave something that you think a lot of beginners are doing that is affecting their growth in the comment section down below. But anyways guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel on the road to 500 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.